Whether you're joining a Product Marketing Alliance event for the first time, or if you're a seasoned regular, welcome to the second edition of the Customer Marketing Summit. Before we dive into the day's content, we just want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, partners, speakers, and you, our lovely audience. From wherever you are watching in the world, we're sure you'll enjoy the sessions from our incredible lineup. With expert presentations, specialist talks, and deep dive panel sessions on the agenda, you are in for a real treat today. To get the most out of these sessions, please ensure you are sharing your feedback and asking all your questions in the comments section, and our speakers will be answering them throughout the day. After the event, a great place to continue the conversation is in the customer marketing channel in the PMA Slack community. If you aren't already a member, hop on over and come and join the discussion. And if that's still not enough, then why not become a PMA Pro member and benefit from unlimited access to exclusive templates, frameworks, and our entire library of videos and slide decks from all our events. So with all that to come, let's dive right into the next session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our session, Better, Faster, Smarter, Ditching Spreadsheets for Purpose-Built Customer Reference Software that'll transform your program and your job. Every day, we talk to companies who've hit the limits of managing their customer reference program by spreadsheet, or maybe a few custom fields in their CRM system. In most cases, they've only just discovered that someone out there has built an application just for them, addressing essential program elements like advocate identification and recruiting, centralizing and tagging reference customers and customer content, operationalizing that messy reference request process, keeping data current and accurate, rewarding advocates, and perhaps most important, reporting on program results. My goal today is to show you what's possible, what a professional program really needs to reach its potential. Along the way, you'll meet a few of our clients from Benevity, Blackline, Coupa, Genesis Cloud Services, NICE CX1, formerly InContact, and Teradata. They'll be sharing their firsthand experiences from their post-spreadsheet worlds. So let's get started.
Spreadsheets are fine for smaller companies with low volumes of reference activity and small quantities of reference customers. But as they grow, the limitations are magnified. The spreadsheet is riddled with gaps. What data does exist is inconsistent, which makes a big difference when you're doing a search. They're hard to keep current and accurate. Complex searches aren't really possible. And collaboration between sales, marketing, and customer success, which we call the reference ecosystem, forget about it. So what was better than nothing becomes simply unsustainable. Let me provide some context for our solution. In customer advocacy or customer marketing programs, there'll be a variety of functions because customer advocacy comes in many forms. There are an ever-growing number of technologies that support customer marketing. Our core competency is customer reference management. Looking at the full customer lifecycle, we support primarily the top of the funnel. And because of that, the key success metric for us and for our clients is revenue influenced. Our application, Reference Edge, is a database at heart, but it also has a lot of business process automation, targeting those pain points I mentioned earlier. That database is company gold. It supports sales along with a wide range of other stakeholders. And to support all those different needs, stakeholders have to know with a high degree of certainty who's referenceable to do what sorts of activities for what product, solution, use case, industry, you name it. They must trust the data, and only then can the program truly support essential reference activities, which ultimately fuel company growth. Identifying and adding happy customers to the reference database is the lifeblood of any customer reference program. Many companies have nomination intake processes that begin with an email or a Word template, or better, a web form. and that's a start. In our application, there are multiple possibilities. For instance, a CSM or a salesperson could go to a contact in Salesforce and click the Nominate as a Reference button. They'd complete a form you've configured to ensure the necessary information is collected every time. Once submitted, they can earn reward points, which encourages adoption. The nomination goes into a queue in an area of our system called the reference workspace. There, you would qualify that nomination following the process you've established, and if approved, a workflow transforms the nomination into a searchable reference profile.
It's very easy for the salespeople to fill out a nomination form, and the form that we created has a lot of detail to it. So when we get on the phone with the customer, we're able to just understand exactly what they're interested in working with us on. So it simplified the process. They're able to nominate the salespeople when they're in their account. So it actually increased our number of nominations because the button's there. So they just click the button, they nominate, and we go from there.
Nominations are a must-have, but the ideal situation would be that a system was continuously hunting for new references as opportunities close. We have that automation. An opportunity is won, and after an appropriate waiting period, a message is sent to the owner of that opportunity to see if the account is a possible reference. There are a few possibilities. The customer may need more time to see results, or the account may have been reassigned. But if the account is happy and referenceable, the nomination form is provided and once submitted is sent to the workspace nomination queue.
For us, using the automated reference lead finder process of the RefEdge software has helped us get some of our more recently implemented clients into our program, and that has been a big help. It has saved me time instead of having to pull reports manually of some of our recent client wins and recently implemented clients. Automatically, emails are sent to our client success managers via ReferenceEdge, and then our CSMs can be the ones to determine whether or not some of our new clients can join the reference program, whether or not they're in a good place to speak positively about Benevity.
Spreadsheets provide a way to manage some details about reference customers, such as whether or not they are referenceable, and perhaps the activities they're up for doing. After that, it gets harder to collect the information, let alone keep it up to date and report on it. ReferenceEdge provides the ability to keep a detailed reference profile on each contact, including granular information about their referenceability and the attributes to support search. It supports multiple statuses, which can be linked to customer sentiment ratings or scores maintained by CSMs. It's easy to set limits to prevent overuse, view rewards activity, and ReferenceEdge keeps track of each and every use, which supports revenue influence reporting.
That profile data, again, not just for our team to be able to see that data and have it all in one place, but the ability for our account executives to now automate that, update the attributes at any time. And we also are now working closely with our customer success managers who now have licenses to be able to do that as well, and to help kind of drive the value and the health of that account, and to really help that account executive too, just because of the sheer fact we've had so many new account executives come in. So often we know, or the customer success manager knows more about the account than they do. So maintaining that profile data and the active status or caution status of that account is super helpful. And everybody that has a license, can see that.
Pre-ReferenceEdge, we had multiple team members working on different advocacy projects. Someone here for case studies, someone over here for speaking opportunities, someone over here for references. We would constantly butt heads, trying to get the same advocate for multiple different use cases. Or we would end up, overusing an advocate because we grabbed them for a webinar over here, we're asking them to do a case study over here, and then I, jump in with a reference call over here. So having that visibility, understanding where a client is within their, advocacy life for us. That has been a big benefit for us, as well as being able to add very quick notes onto an advocacy profile, understanding that sometimes the account owners for a specific account have a lot of information, but we also speak to the clients a lot. And so we have all that information there in one single place that we can look back on. And it's just a centralized hub where we can see everything that we need to know in order to approach specific clients accurately.
It all goes back to relevance. You don't want to send a customer a request when you know they can't speak about the product or solution. Also we can put notes in there if they're having a current issue or they're on hold. Let's say they're going through a migration. Well, we want to be respectful of that migration and the time they're taking to do that. So often we'll hold off on requests to them. So that's a very important functionality to have as well. So again, being able to capture all that detailed data into that one nomination form when they're nominated. And then also when that primary peer that we have changes, that advocate contact changes, we can quickly have the AE, renominate a person without spending a lot of time to do that.
Of course, reference profiles aren't useful if they aren't searchable. For salespeople, relevant references are suggested right on their opportunities. The majority of filters are already applied when the search page appears. Reference searches aren't usually simple when the goal is a highly relevant match. Imagine doing this type of search in a spreadsheet. The reference search page supports filters and keywords and provides access to useful insights. All this makes it possible to find the most relevant reference customers quickly.
We have a lot of specific detail of what we need because our software is very complex and what people can add to it. So we're able to have those little granular detailed elements that would help people to match up. In our reference search, we even break out all the different lists, and sometimes in certain places like competitive displacement, the list is long and people are able to check it off and it searches it. Plus, the reference notes are searchable too. So we take any nugget of information and we apply it. And maybe it doesn't fit some of the search functions, but it fits into understanding the account better. So they have agents in our world in China, but there's only like 10 of them. Well, that isn't the checkoff function in the search feature, but that's something we add to the notes. And then if someone searches agents in China, just in the search function, it picks up in the notes and they're able to find the account.
In a spreadsheet reference environment, there's the hunt, getting the permission, and then arranging the activity itself, like a reference call. You see this process happening in email, Slack, and Chatterblast. It's super inefficient and disruptive to every recipient, whether they can help or not. Well, Reference Edge brings order to chaos. After identifying which accounts are needed, a standardized request form is completed and routed to either a coworker who owns the relationship or a program manager. In this example, the requests are sent to the CRMs, who have their finger on the pulse of the account. Based on the specific criteria, the CRM secures the most suitable contact. Their approval is sent back to the requester with all the necessary details. We even have a feature to help find time on two parties' calendars instead of the usual calendar gymnastics.
We love the peer-to-peer request functionality where our sales team members can go into Ref Search on their own. They can filter clients in our reference program based on a number of different attributes, such as things like company size, industry, secondary industry, client mood, and then they can make the appropriate client selections on their own, which then route those notifications to the appropriate client success manager for actioning. And so it takes me as a reference manager completely out of the process. And that again allows me to do sort of some of the other nitty gritty tasks as it relates to references and some of the other parts of my job.
So much easier. It's people just, first of all, self-service, and we have trained them to be self-sufficient, which they love. And they get the answers they want without us having to chase them. The turnaround time's a lot quicker. And even when we manage the request, it's just easier because we have the workspace to manage it. We see how the request is going along and we're able to then search on our own within the environment.
The expression change is the only constant certainly applies to customer reference data. If you're managing it by spreadsheet, there's probably one or a handful of people tasked with this never-ending and rather futile job. We decentralize that responsibility to make it realistic and feasible. On a scheduled basis, Reference Edge identifies reference profiles that have passed their freshness date, a threshold you determine. The designated relationship owners, such as CSMs, receive a request through email, chatter, or Slack to review the profiles in question. From one page, the accounts and related contact information can be reviewed and modified. In some cases, no updates may be needed. In others, a reference should be deactivated for one reason or another. Sometimes, there's a new advocate that should be brought to the program's attention, and so the nomination form is provided. With this feature, you set it and forget it. Expressing gratitude to customers who help with advocate activities is part of most program practices today, but knowing when to issue rewards for completed activities, then tracking reward redemptions is manual, time-consuming, and error-prone using spreadsheets. Reference Edge provides all you need to set up a reward points program. You decide on the activities and default point values. Rewards for both customers and Reference Edge users are supported. When a reference activity is completed, reward points are automatically issued to a reference contact. Points may be pooled and redeemed at the account level. Issued and redeemed points are easily reported on real time, which makes life easier for you and makes the finance people happy.
Benevity itself is a software company that helps to administer employee giving and matching and volunteering programs for a ton of companies globally. And one of the features of our platform is that we're able to generate electronic gift cards and gift card codes. So oftentimes after a client has been a reference for us, we will send them a charitable gift card that they can redeem to any registered charity that's near and dear to their heart. And again, that only happens because we have all of the tracking that's available to us through Reference Edge.
We are doing rewards for our customers. So we have a point structure, and that is tied directly to GCAP. So we call them GCAP points. So when you do a reference activity for us, whether it be a reference call, analyst activity, customer story, dare I say site visit, pre-COVID, you would get rewarded points, and then you can see your point value within the GCAP hub, which again is a third-party tool. And our advocates love it. They go in, it's a gamified platform that also allows them to earn points within that program that also then push back to Reference Edge so we can see all the data in one spot in the background.
Yeah.
So that we can also see that, hey, you've got somebody that did a reference call, but gosh, they're also in the hub weekly, bi-weekly. So it's not just, they did a reference call and they go away. Mm-hmm. They're still engaging with us and earning points at the same time.
Reporting may be one of the biggest advantages of using a purpose-built reference management app versus spreadsheets. Data is so important not only to running a professional program, but quantifying your program's contributions to company growth, sales efficiency, and effectiveness. Reference Edge, being a Salesforce native application, takes advantage of the robust native Salesforce report and dashboard capabilities. As a jumpstart, we include over 20 pre-built dashboard charts covering nominations, request activity, rewards, gap analysis, and more. Those charts are based on over 50 pre-built reports. We have so many reports, we created a report of Reference Edge reports. Of course, you can also build your own or use a Salesforce-compatible BI tool. Program goal setting is so important because it's easy to lose track of big program objectives in the noise of the day-to-day. Our feature Program Health Monitor is where you can create goals and track on progress and compare performance between time periods. Oh, you're not in spreadsheet land anymore.
Last year, we decided to create a goal where all of our reference requests would be actioned within about 2 business days. And it was a tough goal. That's a very quick turnaround when it comes to reference requests. And it was so easy though to track because that time to close was very reportable in Reference Edge with just a simple stock report that's available to us. Within Reference Edge, you can create custom dashboards for your reference program, and of course, custom reports, which makes it easy to then nitpick how you can make your program stronger in certain areas. You can see what's going well. You can tell a bit of a story to upper management about the program as well with the help of reporting. And so it's just been a saving grace, really, from back before using Reference Edge, where there were very, very limited pieces of information that we could get about our reference program, never mind setting a goal about it or multiple goals throughout the year.
Our program is based on rewards and that integration with our website. So to be able to track the points, all the rewards, the redemptions that come through our member website when they redeem, that is captured within Reference Edge as well. And from the reporting aspect, every month, which I had to do last year, we are now reporting like liability reports, which encompasses 3 separate reports, extremely detailed work. And part of that is the redemptions rewards in terms of what points have been earned, what points have redeemed, and how that equates to a dollar amount. So the reporting again feature and that functionality, and the fact that we have that automated now really, really helps scale back the time I'm spending on reporting.
Reporting's great. The dashboards, the out-of-the-box dashboards are fabulous. We have enhanced those. So we're broken out into segments. So we just take the dashboards and break out the segments. So we show each segment how many accounts and customers are being nominated into the program, how we're using them. And also the biggest value that we show is how long it's taking to fulfill a reference request. So because we have the peer-to-peer environment, like I said before, it's easy and it turns a reference request around in 24 hours. They're able to see, when the people say, well, it usually takes so long to fulfill a reference, we're able to show them, no, it doesn't. This is all tracked. And it also shows the value that we have to the business by attaching the revenue. So we were used for X opportunity closed 1, and here's what we have helped provide to the business.
Especially because I'm newer to Coupa, I've been here for about a year. We've been talking about how we can showcase the value of customer marketing. And one of the things that I want to put together is like a customer marketing digest that showcases all the value that we're putting together for not only references, but all of our stories and touch points and social. So really, we've started with the reference side of the house because that's basically the easiest thing to measure with Reference Edge. So we want to start there and have that be our first thing that we send out in our customer marketing digest. We wanted to do kind of just the baseline metrics. So how many new advocates do we have in a program? How many new customer accounts do we have in a program? Which advocates do we have that align up to our industries? And one of the things that we look at for industries is, does that match what the open opportunity pipeline looks like? So we have sort of some of those benchmarks and metrics, but then, what are these metrics and why do they actually matter? And I think, how does that make the case for customer marketing as well? And so we specifically wanted to dive into a couple areas. One was, how does advocacy decrease churn? And so we were actually able to go in and run the reports that showcase, what customer accounts life looks like with advocates and what it looks like without advocates. And we're able to make that case, which is amazing, right? So that's like that post-sales case, and usually churn is a top-level organizational goal. So we're able to actually showcase that when there's customer accounts that have advocates, they actually stay along longer. And on the flip side, when it comes to net new revenue, we also were able to showcase that accounts and opportunities that actually close that have a recorded reference in our enterprise segment had a 4x higher ACV. And so what's great about that is you can actually turn around and say to sales like, hey, by the way, if you actually go through the process and are getting references into your deals, and then of course going through the official process so that we can help you find the most fitting reference to make sure that it's, higher chances of closing, likely you're going to be able to get more out of those deals. It's so important that you do have that in place so that, one, you can report on it quarter over quarter. But then too, it goes without saying, but when it comes time to ask for resources, or when, the sales leader goes to your leader in marketing and says, what are you guys doing for us? How are you helping us close deals? They can actually pull up these statistics and these analytics like right away. So for me, I want that backup, and I want that like plan in place so that if anyone's asking, I can say, yep, here you go. Here's what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And here's the metrics reported out quarterly for you all.
So now there is a better, faster, smarter way to run a reference program. There really is a company out there that heard your challenges and created a solution that automates what makes sense so that you can be a strategic advocate consultant to your stakeholders. And we've been doing it since 2003, native to Salesforce since 2013. Your CMO, CRO, and CEO are looking to programs like yours to drive company growth, and we can help. A big thanks to our advocates, Elise, Charlotte, Delaney, Jessica, Lisa, and Maria for sharing their stories. And thank you again for coming to our session.
Hi, everybody. So thank you very much, David, for that really insightful session. So great to hear from so many of your fantastic clients as well. So just trawling through the chat, would love to start off. There was a bit of a discussion going on from some longer term users of RefEdge, and I guess what are some best practices that you have seen emerging, and some great use cases that you've seen emerging of the tool?
Wow, that's a broad topic, best practices. I kind of group it into some of the areas that were in the presentation, like recruiting best practices and data maintenance and updating best practices and so forth. And I would say, if you want to have a good look at the full view, go to our blog, point-of-reference.com/blog. And I've made a real point of putting everything we learn in our client relationships out there for everybody to benefit from.
Awesome, super helpful. I will put a link to that in the chat as well so that everybody can find that resource for themselves. And yeah, if anyone does have any other questions for David, feel free to pop them in the chat now. There was a question, so thinking about adopting the use of ReferenceEdge, in terms of kind of onboarding your team, how long does it normally take to get people up to speed with using this program?
The implementation is on average 5 to 6 weeks long, but adoption is another question, kind of separate from the technical installation. And I think that adoption always involves carrots and sticks. And the stick is going to be getting leadership on board, particularly VPs of sales, VPs of customer success, and helping them understand the value and the community benefit, I guess, of everybody participating. And then the carrots, we've got rewards built into our system to make it easy for people to get something tangible, points that can be translated into something that our clients decide to redeem for.
I'm on mute. Yeah, absolutely. What are some best practices for driving sales to adopt RefEdge and nominate customers?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things that we do is we have a Slack bot, because a lot of people live in Slack all day long and they are not in Salesforce all day long. So part of it is like put sidewalks where people walk, as we like to say. That's number one. Number two, if you're doing rewards for customers, the only way they're going to get rewards is if the system knows about it and the program managers can report on it. So got to get it in there. Number three, we have a nice explainer video. It's on our homepage for salespeople in particular. Like, this doesn't make any sense to not do it this way because it's more efficient. You're going to get answers and better matches, and you're going to get references to those who are requesting them, faster. And that's the end goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So I'll do a final call for questions if anybody has one. But in the meantime, I guess, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best platform if they want to learn more?
Yeah, definitely go to our page, our website, point-of-reference.com, and there's a request a demo, or you can just send us a message if you just want to get an information call set up. We're happy to have those. And we're all about understanding our clients' environments or companies' environments before their clients to make sure that we're a good fit. So don't feel like you're inconveniencing us just to have a conversation.
Absolutely. It's all about community. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think we have covered most of the questions. So thank you very much for joining us, David, and for sharing your thoughts and bringing all your customers on board to share their thoughts too, being part of the Customer Marketing Summit. We do have one more session from Patrick Cowley at Quorum coming right up. I know we're a couple of minutes behind, but we're going to launch right into that session. So thanks again, David.
Thank you.